Hey everybody, this is Mr. Storm. Today we are going to continue working on our text adventure game. Let me go ahead and pull up the our planning document that we created because we're going to need that today. Oh, where was it? There we go. Text adventure game planning document. So we've created all of these classes and methods previously. They're all completely created. Now they may not have all of the content in them that they're going to have. And then we have our story as well. We have our intro, Act 1 intro, Act 1 outro, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4, all of that. So today we're actually going to focus on getting the story into the game. Let's go to the story class. And this is going to be pretty easy compared to some of the other videos or some of the other things we've worked on. By the way, if you hear something in the background, my wife and daughter are watching Mamma Mia in the other room, and they sing along. So if you hear some random singing, that's them. Anyway, so the story is going to be pretty easy to put in there, especially because we've created those helper classes in our game logic class, or those helper methods. That are going to allow us to read integers and clear the console and our print separator, print heading. Since we've created those, it's going to be a lot easier for us to create our story. So let's start at the top. Print intro. We have our system out print line here, but we actually want to do a couple of things first. First, let's clear the console. Clear console. Okay, and then let's create a print separator. Oh, logic. Print separator. Why is that not? And we'll give it let's say 30. All right. Now let's do a print line. So system.out.println, and we'll say story in all caps, just to let them know this is the story. Okay. We'll do another print separator, and actually we could just copy and paste because this one is going to be the same. All right. And then we want system.out.println. And in this print line, we are going to put in our paragraph for our intro. So we can just copy and paste. Now, I've given you access to my story, which you can use for this if you absolutely want to. That's totally fine. But I would recommend maybe writing your own story. I think it would be fun and interesting to write your own story. So it's up to you. You absolutely can use my story. It's pretty bland, pretty generic, but you can write your own if you'd like. And then we're going to end it with anything to continue. Okay. So that is basically what each of these methods are going to look like. All we have to do is copy this content. And let's paste it. First act intro. Paste it in there. And in here we can change this to Act 1. Or actually we'll do the Roman numerals. Act I intro. Okay. Act 1 intro. Copy. And paste. Okay. Perfect. And then again, like that's all we're doing. We're just copying and pasting each of these. Act I. Actually, no, this is the outro. Outro. Act 1 outro. Delete. Copy. Paste. All right. Now, if I were a better YouTube video creator, I would at this point speed everything up and and move on, or you can watch as I'm speeding everything up, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep going. But you guys can, you know what? Actually, here's what I'm going to do. I will fix this later off video so you guys don't have to watch as I do this. Just, you can see what we've, notice that I accidentally selected that, that end bracket for that method. That would have caused some errors in the program. Anyway, I'm just going to keep copying and pasting. I will just do that so that there's something in each of these methods, and I'll go fix that after the video is over so that you guys don't have to watch me copy and paste all day. All right, so that's the story. So the story class is now built. It has content in it. Again, you can write your own story or you can copy mine. That's completely up to you. I'm not gonna judge if you decide that you just want to use my story. Let's go back to our game logic. Let's see. So what we need to do here in our game logic class is we need to basically let's work on, which method should we work on now? The next thing we should look at, let's do check act. It's literally the next thing in our, let's do check act. Okay, so this method is going to change the game's values based on the user's XP. Okay, so what we want to do first is let's basically set up a system where we can change, I'm still caps locked, change acts based on XP. Let's check to see if player.xp is greater than or equal to 5, and where's my ampersand? There we go. And act equals 1. So if we're in act 1 and we have more than 5, we have more than 5 XP, then we're going to increment the act and the place. So we move to a new place. So act is going to equal 2 and place equals 1, because we're starting at, where's our places? Let's go up here. Let's review that just a second real quick. So places, place is going to be starting at 0 and act is starting at 1. So we're starting in the Everlasting Mountains. If we move place to 1, then we move to the first, or the 1 index, right? This is the 0 index. This is the 1 index. So we go to the Haunted Swamp. All right, perfect. There we go. Okay, so then we want to print story.print. I don't want to do that in a comment. Let's story.print first act outro. Okay, print first act outro. Then we want to let the player level up. So player.choose trait. This is going to allow them to pick a new trait. So if we look at our player class, notice that we actually don't have a choose trait in here, but it is in, we don't. Let's take a look at our player and let's build this out a little bit more, actually, because we do need it to be able to change traits. So first, let's add some variables in here. Okay, so let's create some integers to store the number of upgrades that the player has. So public int, we'll say num attack, ATK, upgrades, and number of the defensive upgrades that the player has. And then let's do some additional player stats. We're going to need these later. Additional player stats. Things like gold, rests left, and potions, so pots. Okay, so these upgrades are going to basically allow for combat to allow you to have some benefits during combat, depending on the amount of upgrades you have. So let's create some arrays to store the skills. We'll create a public string ATK upgrades, and we'll set my attack upgrades to things like, let's do strength and power and might. Again, these are just very genetic, or very generic, not genetic. Godlike. I don't want to say strength, power, or might. Godlike. I don't know, whatever. We'll just say strength. Again, I'm not going to win any awards on the story in this game. String. And then our defensive upgrades, def upgrades, we'll set that to heavy bones. You know, I'm going to go bones. Yep, just like that. We'll do stone skin, scale armor, and holy aura. Now, these aren't really going to do like anything different. Basically, it's just going to be a way for us to, I don't know, put names to the upgrades they're choosing. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Okay, so those are there. Let's build out this constructor a bit. So we're calling our superclass. Let's actually put a comment there so we know what we're doing here. So calling the constructor of the superclass, which is in this case the character class. Then let's set the number of upgrades to 0, because we don't want them to have any upgrades when we start the game. So we're going to reference this specific player. So the way we would do that is this dot num ATK upgrades, make it 0, and this dot num def upgrades equals 0 as well. So number of def upgrades and attack. I wonder why my IntelliSense isn't really working. Anyway, whatever. And then let's set those additional stats as well, just so we don't forget to do them later. So this dot gold equals 5. We'll start with 5 gold at the beginning. This dot rests left, we'll set that to 1 at the beginning. And this dot pots will be 0. No potions at the beginning of the game. And then we actually want to let the player choose a new trait at the beginning of the game. So when creating a character. So we're going to call the choose trait method here whenever we create this new character. So this method needs to be created. So let's go ahead and create the choose trait method. I'm going to do it underneath these. I'll do it right here. That's fine. So let's see. Let player choose a trait. Public void choose trait. Okay. So first we want to clear the console. Game logic dot clear console. Then we want to print a header. Print heading, and we'll say choose a trait. Okay. Then system.out.println, and we'll say number 1 is going to be equal to ATK, or number 1 plus ATK upgrades, that's the array we created, and then the number of attack upgrades they have. So it'll start at 0, which means the first thing they'll show is strength as their first possible upgrade for attack. All right. And that looks good to me. Let's go ahead and copy this and paste it. And we will do, instead of attack upgrades, it'll be def upgrade. Oh, we need to change that to 2. And then number of def upgrades. So you can choose either an attack upgrade or a defense upgrade at each time you get a new trait. So get the player's choice. Int input equals game logic dot read int, and we're going to give them this little character thing to show that they have a choice and only 2 possible options. All right, let's clear the console. Game logic dot clear console. And then let's deal with whatever they've done. So we'll take in their choice, and then we'll make that the change here based on whatever they've chosen. So deal with choice. So if input equals 1, then we want to game logic dot print heading. You chose. And we can actually just copy this so we don't have to paste, or we don't have to type it out. Tech upgrades plus 1. Oh no, exclamation point. And we're going to increase the number of attack upgrades by 1. Else, we're going to do all this, but make it defensive upgrades instead. And then number of def upgrades. And at the end, we're going to make it pause for a second. So anything to continue. Okay, so that is going to allow us to add new traits to our player whenever we create the game. And also we can call this method, this choose trait method, whenever we level up to the point where we can move to the next area. It'll allow us to choose a new trait. So that's what this player, okay, reset to mine, I guess. Let's make sure my player is still everything it needs to be. Yep, we're good. Okay, so game logic. So that's what this choose trait is going to do for us. Perfect. All right. Next. Let's see. Oh, I went too far. I'm looking at my notes here. Okay, so we're choosing a trait. Now we want to print the second story or the second act intro. So story dot print second act intro, so that we move on to the second act. And we're going to assign new enemies to this enemy array up here. Notice we have enemies, ogre, goblin, stone elemental. Those are the enemies for our first area. We're going to change those enemies to different enemies for the second act. So assign new values to enemies. So enemies 0 is going to be equal to, let's say, evil mercenary. And I'm going to copy and paste. How many do I have? 5. So I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so evil mercenary. Let's make a goblin enemy. Goblin. Let's do a wolf pack. So you're fighting off a pack of wolves. Wolf pack. I don't know. Scary stranger. Stranger danger. And let's do henchman. Henchman. All right. Easy enough. And we also want to assign new values to these encounters. They're singing Dancing Queen really loud in the other room. I hope you guys can hear it. All right. So notice we have battle, 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 rest, rest, shop. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm actually going to get rid of one of these rests just because I only really want 5 possibles. And those are going to be the same. I think I'm just going to keep those the same. So I don't really actually need to update those yet. So, because I'm going to keep the same ratio of battling and resting and shopping for the second act as well. So I don't need to do that part. Okay. So all of that was inside of an if statement. So if they've reached enough XP to move on, then we update all these values. Else if, let's see, else if player.xp is greater than or equal to 15 and act equals 2. So if we've reached enough XP to move past Act 2, and we're currently in Act 2, then we can, let's just copy and paste. Because a lot of this is going to be basically the same. Okay, so increment Act. So Act becomes 3, place becomes 2. And instead of first act outro, it's going to be second act outro. We're going to choose a trait. We're going to print the third act intro. And then we're going to update our enemies. I'm going to have evil mercenary. And then I'm going to have like 3 henchmen. Okay. And then here I do want to change my encounters a bit. So let me actually copy and paste these. So assign new values to, actually, no, I'm going to keep the same battle, shop, and rest. I'm not really going to update those at all. So I'm going to keep those the same. All right, now I want to fully heal the player at the end of this act, just because at this point in the game, they're probably really feeling the, they're feeling the heat. So fully, actually, yeah, let's do that, but let's take away their ability to rest there. So we will actually paste these in. Assign new values to encounters. So here we'll have battle. We'll have 4 battles in 1 shop. Battle. That way we're taking away the rest because we're going to heal them completely at the end anyway. So it would be kind of it'd be messed up if we gave them the opportunity to use one of their rests, but they use it to heal themselves and then we immediately heal them again. That would be messed up. So, but I do want them to make sure, I want to make sure they have full health before this next part. So fully heal the player. And we'll say player.hp equals player.max HP. All right. And next, else if. Did I make that? Yeah. Okay, good. Else if player.xp is greater than or equal to 50 and act equals 3. So we're going to advance to Act 4. Let's grab, and really with this one, we don't need to do much. Let's just do, we can actually just write this in. So Act equals 4, place equals 3, story, print third act outro, player dot choose trait, story dot print fourth act intro, and player dot HP equals player dot max HP. And then we'll call the final battle method. So that is going to be basically the structure of our story. Okay, we are going to move from Act 1 to Act 2 to Act 3 to Act 4. And then when we're done, well, actually Act 3 is going to, or Act 4 is basically, I guess we could update our enemies and stuff here too if we wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it like that. That's fine. Okay. What else do we want to do in this video? I think at this point we're actually doing pretty well. Next video, we will work on these 3 or these 4 methods. Actually, probably these 5. We'll do resting, shops, character info, continuing the journey, random encounter, all of that stuff. Yeah, we're going to handle all of that in the next video. Maybe random battle as well, because that's a pretty small method. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to do a bunch in the next video. So we will do that. Battle itself is probably going to be a big one. That's a big method that we're going to have to worry about later. But for right now, I think we're good. So go ahead and get in the main moving from act to act. Make sure your story beats are all in there, all your story intro stuff. Mine I have to fix. But at this point, we're in good shape. So let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you next time.